I 24 male have regularly talked to a cam girl 27 female for 1.5 years. Yesterday she revealed that she likes me and wants to meet in real life. I need some advice. I am not sure where the best place to ask this is. So I am going to cross-post this. But basically I've been camming with this girl for about 1.5 years now semi-regularly. I am in grad school, and while I have the occasional hookup, I don't have time for a serious GF. During the first few months of camming with her, we'd talk for a while, usually about X. Ask each other questions. Talk about our fantasies and experiences, and then we'd move into X camming. After a few months of this, she started giving me serious discounts, and the camming became more about friendliness and companionship than X. Last November, she stopped charging me altogether because our cam sessions were almost always just talking to each other. She gave me her phone number and her regular Snapchat. And we've been texting and Snapchatting like normal friends. We do still get dirty, and sometimes I do request things. Yesterday, during a long cam session into the early hours, she told me that she really likes me and that I legitimately put a smile on her face. We had joked before about meeting in real life. But last night she seriously asked me if I wanted to meet. I've grown to know this girl pretty well. I know that she's an introvert like myself, and that she doesn't really like going out and only has a small group of close friends. We're both single people in our mid-20s. I think I really like her too. I feel that over the time we've talked, our camming relationship has gone from me being lonely and wanting to watch a hot girl masturbate to essentially online dating. We text throughout the day. We Skype at night. We've even had dinner over Skype. What do you guys think? Do you think what we both feel could be real and blossom into a real relationship? Or do you think that it's just the mystery of the internet and Skype? I really would like to meet her and take her on a real date and actually have X with her. But I am afraid of ruining our relationship, and then what we had will be over. Sorry for the essay of text. Too long, didn't read. Cam girl I am a regular with says she likes me and wants to meet. Our relationship has gone from client cam girl to friends over 1.5 years. What should I do? Edit. After thinking about it all day, and from the conversations I've had through Reddit, I've decided that I am gonna meet her. I am gonna talk to her about it tonight and ask if an upcoming weekend will work. Thank you to everyone who gave me great advice and respectfully voiced their concerns. You guys are great. Edit 2. I told her last night that I've thought about it and that I really like her and would also like to meet her. She seemed so genuinely excited, and I am really excited too. We're planning on meeting in 2 weekends. Many people have asked me to post an update after we meet. I don't guarantee that I will, but I will consider it after I meet her. Thank you so much to everyone who has been so positive and helpful. And also everyone who has been negative, because that has allowed me to think critically about the situation. Sounds like it could be worth trying. Honestly, I say go for it. Serious question: would you be okay with her continuing to cam with other guys if you two start dating? That is one of my worries. I am all about sexual freedom and doing what makes you happy. And it is her line of work, so it would be pretty dickish to force her to stop. But at the same time, I don't know if I could handle that. It's like not only just a ton of strangers seeing her naked while we're dating, but if she could have an emotional connection with me. Could that happen again with someone else? Dude, join in and you can do couples cam shows and hit a whole new demographic. In all seriousness, go for it. She may want to stop camming once she's in a relationship. Also remember that situations of meeting are rarely one of a kind. It's all been done before. And that's just one of the challenges of a committed relationship. Even one that starts on a X site. I'd never be comfortable going on cam for people. But she's make that joke dozens of times. I definitely should ask her what her camming plans are if we started dating. She does have a mundane part-time job, so camming isn't her sole basis of income. I would just feel bad forcing her to stop her livelihood, but at the same time, I don't think I'd be comfortable with her doing it. Yeah. Definitely something you'd want to discuss very early on. Former cam girl here. I ended up dating one of my regulars. We were in a long-distance relationship. He lived 4 hours away. We saw each other once a month. We dated for a year. We broke up due to reasons unrelated to camming. I'd say as long as you're honest and open with her and don't try to dissuade her from her job. It should be just as normal as any other relationship where people meet online. You know. Give it a shot. Don't have to make it a whole pony show. Have dinner. Hang out. Make it a small getaway or something. But yes. Be very upfront about the fact that while you don't judge her for how you met. And I think that will be the most difficult part. Given how some people are really stuck on the Madonna naughty girl complex. You don't necessarily want to share her with the world. I think that if you make a point to say that you're not uncomfortable with how you met. Just that you have fairly regular standards about who gets to see your partner undressed while you're dating. You two could have a reasonable conversation about it. I definitely don't judge her for how we met. Or her line of work. I mean, I can't really judge her for how we met because I am also part of that. I think part of my leeriness is just because it's very unconventional and almost surreal. I don't know. I think I am a very normal person and was just looking for some companionship with her. It's almost unreal that that could develop into a real-life relationship. I think I am leaning towards meeting her because I am really curious and would just really love to hug her and hold her. I am definitely going to have a real conversation with her about what we could be and what her plans are if we date, as well as my level of comfort with what she does. I am also part of that. I mean, no. I have no issue meeting cute strippers and don't care what they do for a living. But dating a stripper and liking a stripper is completely different. For example, it's not a judgmental thing. It's a lifestyle thing. I am a software annulist. No. I am not going to settle down with an ex-worker. It's not my lifestyle. It's not my scene. I like beer, but I wouldn't marry a bartender either. You're a science nerd and she's a 30-year-old ex-worker. What do you have in common to keep you together other than liking each other? That's the thing you need to think about. What's the worst that can happen? You mistake someone liking you and that exciting you for something real. And you learn brutally, and that's the end of it. So I mean, give it a shot. But be honest with yourself about why you like her and what you expect out of this. Second story. Am I the a-hole for not telling my ex I got pregnant? I, 28 female, was with my ex-husband for about 6 years. During this time, we were trying for a baby but had no success. About 4 years into our marriage had a rough patch. My ex had stress at work and slept with his co-worker to relieve it. He confessed to me rather quick, and a week later, they sat me down and told me they were expecting a child. I was an idiot back then, and so I felt like I should forgive him because I truly believed he loved me, and I thought I had no one. It wasn't. My ex's family treated me like their own. But my ex's supposed daughter was the apple of their eye. As a result of that, my ex's co-worker was frequent presence in our lives. They felt like they had to include the mom of their grandchild for everything too, and she made her way in every family picture and memory. It didn't help that I suspected that the co-worker had feelings for my ex and flirted with him when she can. People thought that she was my ex's wife constantly, and I finally had enough when during the baby girl's first birthday party when I was told to take a picture of my ex, his mistress, his daughter, and his parents, and it didn't include me. It hit me that I was now treated as the other woman, and I realized that I deserved more than this crap. I filed for divorce a few months later and left. It was the hardest time of my life, but I ended up getting a promotion at work and met this sweet, wonderful guy. Fast forward to now. Me and my boyfriend are madly in love, and I gave birth to an adorable baby girl that I considered a miracle baby. I got pregnant with my boyfriend like 3 months after dating him, and I thought that it was strange that this could happen since my previous failed attempts with ex and had thought that I was the infertile one. It crossed my mind then that maybe he was the infertile one and he only believed mistress was pregnant with his child because they were having an affair. I didn't say anything though because it was not my place anymore. However, my boyfriend was so happy about my daughter's birth and posted it on Facebook and tagged me in the post. I was still friends with my ex-sister-in-law on Facebook and she saw the post. She called me up and said that she was hurt that I didn't let her know that I could actually get pregnant and the lack of child during my first marriage could be my ex's fault. He took a paternity test. The poor baby girl was never my ex's. The co-worker apparently was dating this terrible guy during the time she slept with my ex and didn't know who the child's father was, so she just strung my ex along cause she had feelings for him and thought he'd be the best father for her child. Now my ex blames me for not telling him that I was pregnant way before and him having to father this girl. He's doing pretty bad now and I can't help but feel guilty, like I should have told him. Another post. Okay, so first of all, I keep seeing that people have seen other posts like mine in some YouTube video. If so, I'm upset that others have had similar situations as me, and that some people find the situation so hilarious that they make a video out of it. I've also never posted on Reddit before. I had a previous account for browsing, not posting. I don't think I have to prove my story, and I honestly posted this not to seek validation that my ex supposedly is the worst ever, but to gain perspective, since my ex and his family were my family and close confidants for a large period of my life. We were pretty close and I had promised to keep in touch after the divorce, which they were super upset about. But I really couldn't after everything that happened between us. They're now super pissed at me for the divorce and for being complicit in my ex taking on the expenses of his not daughter and forming a paternal connection with her for longer than he should have. Edit. So here's what's been happening right now. I haven't spoken to them after this and have been avoiding my ex's calls. He texted me saying that he is sorry and overreacted and felt guilty about prioritizing people who were never really family over me. I only replied with asking how his daughter is, because even though she isn't biologically his, she's still his girl. She seems like an adorable kiddo and adores her dad. My ex's mistress is able to support the girl financially, so my ex won't contribute to that, but he says that he's still going to see her every month because he feels morally obligated to. I feel bad for the girl so much because she seems to have lost her family unit: dad, grandparents, cousins. Update. I got messages asking me to update, and I'm now frequently on Reddit, so I thought, why not? First things first. I'm getting married. My boyfriend proposed a few weeks ago, and we'll be tying the knot once this whole mess of a year is over. I know a lot of people here said that my ex's family is toxic, and I shouldn't keep in touch with them. But I did contact them to tell them about my engagement. It went well. My ex-mother-in-law cried and told me she was happy for me and apologized for everything. She felt bad about what happened and promises to keep in touch with me. My ex-sister-in-law also apologized for blowing up at me, but she was just very overwhelmed by everything going on in her family's life. I can sympathize and told her that all is forgiven. This family is still super important to me, but this felt more like closure, and I'm at peace with my feelings now. It's a chapter in my life that was bittersweet with a lot of great memories, but is now closed. I'll always look back fondly. But now it's time for me to move on. The last I've heard, my ex's ex-child is living with her mother, and her biological father is now more involved in her life. My ex stopped visiting altogether and doesn't seem to be in great shape, but I haven't inquired because I don't feel like it's my place anymore. I wish him well and hopefully he's able to move on from this. For those who messaged me saying that this is fake, believe what you want to believe. I don't really care anymore that you think this is from a YouTube video. I just hope that those who are reading this know that even though you're struggling, are in tough times, or are just depressed with your life, know that it will get better. It happened to me, and it happened to a lot of people. You too are special, and you too will achieve happiness. Don't give up on yourself. Do what is right. If you think this is fake, believe it so, as long as you get this message loud and clear. Mucho love to those who supported me. Love you. Third story. How to have a ex life when living with my 29 male wife's 30 female little sister. 16 female. My wife Ellie and I have been married for 4 years. Dating since we were 22 and were friends long before then. I knew her as a teenager. And even then her parents were just a trash fire. Trashy. Narcissistic. Delusional awful human beings doesn't even begin to cover it. Ellie escaped to college and has not lived at her family home since graduation. We make okay money. Have a house and a cat. Plan to have kids someday and are overall pretty happy in a life that is nothing remotely like Ellie's childhood. As of January and after a lengthy process, Ellie's teenage sister Sarah has been living with us. We are now her legal guardians and transplanted from Arizona to Connecticut away from her absolute garbage mother and stepfather. It is a huge change for Sarah, who has seen more crap than anyone, let alone a 16-year-old, ever should have to deal with. And of course COVID-19 hit before she had a chance to really adapt to the area. All things considered, she has been doing really well and I love having her around. She's thriving now that she has adults around that support her and her hobbies and dreams, don't belittle her trauma or mental illness, and actually provide for her so she doesn't have to worry about adult stuff yet. She has a new therapist who isn't a snake oil salesman. She has her own space. And she seems pretty good. We anticipate she'll be here until she moves out on her own as an adult. However, those chips fall compared to a lot of what we had to deal with Ellie's family getting to this point. My one complaint seems small, but it's been bothering me a little ever since Sarah arrived. My wife and I have not had ex. I absolutely knew I'd be sacrificing how much we could freely have ex when I agreed to basically adopt a teenager, which we did discuss. So it's not a huge surprise. However, it's now mid-May and Sarah has settled in well. And Ellie is not even open to a conversation about how we could resume our ex life. I understand that Sarah is home basically 24/7. Especially with quarantine. And even without, she is a bit of an introverted homebody type kid. I don't really want to set poor Sarah up to have to hear her sister and brother-in-law going at it either. But even at night after Sarah's gone to bed and we're in bed on the other side of the house, Ellie won't even entertain the idea. She got angry with me when I asked if we could talk about it as a whole, saying that we have much bigger things to worry about, such as making Sarah comfortable, and that ex is not appropriate right now. I agree about focusing on Sarah. But Sarah seems comfortable. And I am not sure why having quiet intimacy without her around is incompatible with everything else we're doing for her. From what I know of Sarah's history and needs, I don't believe the idea of us having ex in the house would trigger her or bother her more than it would the average teenager were she to somehow catch us or catch on. But asking Ellie if her concerns had to do with that simply made her madder. She seems to overall be shocked at something I can even think about right now, if it matters at all. Sarah identifies as a Zul and has zero interest in dating or boys, and is prone to going "that's dirty" and make gagging noises if there are any X scenes or jokes in movies we're watching, etc. I suspect this is what she'd do if she ever guessed we were having X. But I think this is the extent of which it would bug her. Ellie has always been pretty bad with planned X or X dates because it gives her anxiety to perform. So it's always been spontaneous or bust with us. When we were dating in our mid-20s, she shared an apartment with her older sister a year older and her sister's husband. And she was always against having X whenever they were home, going as far as to cut X short if they came home unexpectedly, even if we were in her bedroom and they were elsewhere in the house and not looking for us. Her older sister did not have the same reservations and was happy to just hang a proverbial sock on the door, which we never had a problem with. Ellie is also very quiet in bed. Now I know Sarah is young and we are in a parental position, so we'd have to be much more discreet. But I can't help but feel like it's all related. Does anyone have any advice on how to have a healthy ex life while raising a teenager? As well as advice on how to bring this up with my wife. I am trying my best not to be too pushy, and Sarah is my top priority right now too. But I am starting to feel a little depressed. From the lack of intimacy, and ashamed that I miss it so much. And I feel like there must be some middle ground here. Or am I really being selfish? Too long didn't read. Wife's little sis has been living with us for several months. And now my wife is upset that I want to revisit our ex-life. Hit like if you enjoyed this video. Consider subscribing to our channel.